Okay, welcome back to our virtual lessons from Youth Code Jam. Today's lesson is we're going to be doing a secret code generator using Scratch. But before we get into that, we have a couple housekeeping things to go over. So just a reminder, our lesson schedules that we will post new lessons online on Monday and Wednesday mornings. And then on Tuesday and Thursday afternoons at 4, we'll hold our Q&A sessions. This is where we have some changes coming in. So we had been posting our links publicly, but we had some security issues with those. So now we are going to ask that parents or students register with an email using this bit.ly link right here. This will allow us to verify that the people signing up are indeed students and want to be there to learn. And then we can send out private links so that people who want to cause problems and aren't really students can't get into our sessions. And this just makes it safer. I understand that this can be a bit of a headache. It's one more email to get, it's one more step, but our intent is to keep this a safe learning environment for our students. And just a reminder, you'll need to have Zoom. So you can download that ahead of time and get it installed on whatever device you're using and be ready to go. So today today we're going to be doing the secret code generator, and you have the option to download the English version or the Spanish version if that's more helpful to you. I'm going to be working from the English version for today's activity. So we're going to go to our browser, and I'm going to go ahead and use Safari for this. And I'm going to type in that link in my URL bar. So what is it for English? It's this one. So I'm going to type in that. YCJ. Let's see. Nope, didn't type it in correctly. Added an extra H. Right, there we go. So depending on which one you get, you'll have either the Spanish version or the English version showing, and then you'll come up to the top of your browser and hit the download button, and it will download the PDF into your downloads folder. So mine automatically opened in Adobe because it's a Adobe PDF file. So if it didn't open for yours, you'll need to go to your downloads folder, wherever that is on your device, and open it from there. I'm going to get rid of this. So before we head into Scratch today, it's going to be a little different. So we're not making the entire activity from start to finish. We're actually going to start with part of the code already existing for us. So today's secret code generator is based on something called a Caesar Cipher. This is actually a really old way of encrypting or encoding messages that was developed in long time ago. So it's really, really old. It's actually a very common activity that you'll see done in computer science courses. I just did one for a Java class. So it's a very basic level encoding, kind of a cybersecurity way. This is one way to encrypt a password. It's not actually something that's done because it's really easy for hackers to figure out, but it's kind of an intro to what all that would look like. So the first thing we're going to do is in the Let's Get Started section, we're just going to, if it's on your web computer, you're just going to go ahead and click this Scratch link, and it's going to open it in the browser. If you're not, you're going to, if you're looking at a printed piece of paper, you're going to need to type that into your URL. So it's going to take us to the outward facing part of the activity. And right now it's not going to run because the activity is incomplete. We're going to finish building this generator. Building the encryption part of it. So here's a little bit of information about how the generator works. I'm going to talk us through this, so I'm not going to read it to you, but if you want, you can pause the video and read through it and then come back and pick up with the lesson. So we're going to go up to the right part of your screen and click this See Inside button. And this will allow us to see the code that already exists. Whoops. So if you come up here, you'll see the code that's already been made for us. And it just does some of the background stuff. So all of this right here deals with, it's going to have the word we type in, and the encoded word will show up here, and there will be a little window that asks us to type something that shows up here. And then this one is, so you'll click the flying hippo here to get the message to show. So it will talk to us and all that stuff. And then this block is what does the actual encoding. So this is a special block made from my blocks. So you can do this to add your own code if something doesn't already exist in one of these drawers. So here was used to create the encoding process. So what you'll end up having is, if you come over to here where it says when A key pressed, code A as E. So what that is the letter that we're going to change goes in the first block here, goes in the first white bubble, and the letter we're changing it to goes in the second. So when we type in A, it's going to show up as an E. And you're probably wondering how we got that. So a Caesar cipher, which is what this is based on, just shifts the alphabet by whatever number key you want. So I think the example on this example does 4, but we're gonna work through a key before we come back to the code. So you'll see A becomes E, B becomes F, C becomes G, D becomes H, E becomes I. H becomes L. So you can see there's a shift in the alphabet, and that's kind of why it's so easy for a computer hacker to figure out, because it's not that challenging. But if you're doing it by hand, it can be very challenging because you don't know what the key is. So what we're going to do is go back to the PDF real quick, and we're going to scroll down. And on number 4, you'll see this kind of, on step 4, top of page 2, you'll see this wheel. This is called the cipher wheel. This will give you can see little numbers, that's the offset. So if we make AE, we have an offset of 5. So one way people do this is they print out a wheel, and they have an inner wheel and an outer wheel, and they shift the inner wheel. And I'll show you that below. Or they can do kind of a table. And I'm going to build a table later, but I'll show you the best I can on the computer how the wheel will work. So on page 3 in the English version, there's a cipher. And this is going to be your inner wheel right here. And this other bigger one called the plain text wheel is the outer one. So what you can do is you can print this out, and you can print this out, and you would place the smaller wheel inside here and then do a shift. So let's see if I can I draw? I can annotate. There we go. So I would have the inner wheel placed inside this space. No, I can't draw a circle. That's going to be good enough. And then because we're doing an offset of 5, I would turn the inner wheel so that E lined up with A, and then we would have F, what comes after F? G, H would be D, and so on. So it would match up like that. And that might be an easy visual for you to do. It might not be. I'm gonna clear all drawings. All right, so now we're gonna go, but I'm gonna do something else to help us get through this. Because the wheel's not really going to work for here. So we're actually going to do a table. And can I do new share whiteboard? So we're going to go into the whiteboard real quick, and I'm going to draw us a table to the best of my ability. And then I'm going to take a screenshot of it on my computer so that we can have it accessible later on. All right, so this is going to be a funky looking table. And I'm going to split it into 2 rows. And our goal is to get 26 columns in here. I don't think I made it big enough. So let's redo that. Can I make this? There we go. Need to make that bigger because it needs to be longer. Okay. So now I'm going to go back to my drawing. You guys can do this. You don't have to do it on the computer. You can do this on a scratch sheet of paper with me. Will be probably easier. And then you can have your own reference. But I will take a screenshot and keep it accessible for us while we go through this process. Okay, so, well, we might not get 26 in there. We might have to do another square when this is done. So A, B, C, D, E, okay, so ours is starting off with A is turning into E. So I'm going to start E here and then have F under B, G, H, I, J, K, L. So I'm going to leave this here for a second. So this top row is our initial letter where we start, and the bottom row is going to be the encoded letter. So A becomes E, B becomes F, D becomes H, and so on. And before I erase some stuff, I'm going to take a screenshot so that I can have this up in the corner when we're back using the code. Okay, so we stopped at H. And nope, it's not just the computer where I have bad handwriting. That's actually pretty close to what it looks like when I print. This is why typing is such a good thing. All right, so we're picking back up with H on our top row. Whoops, right? No, I. Picking up with I. So of I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P. And because I want to get this right, I'm going to open this screenshot. So we stopped with L. Okay, so L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T. Okay, so that's going to be our second set. And I'll go ahead and take a screenshot. If at any time you guys are copying this down for your own use, you can go ahead and pause the video and just pick up when you've finished your own chart. So we're going to do something a little different this time. So P, here I'm going to start with Q. And then Q should become U. Okay. So now I have my starting points for the third one. And I'm going to erase the old ones. Real quick. All right. Okay, so after Q comes R, S, T, U, V, W, X. All right, so U, V, W, X, Y, Z. So now you're probably thinking, what happens here? Well, remember we shifted the alphabet by 5, or Yeah. So now we're going to wrap those front letters that we pushed off around. So we're going to have A, I guess 4, not 5. We had a shift to 4 here. So we're going to have A, B. If you get a second, let's see if I can. I'm just going to draw it underneath, I think. If I can. Yes. I'm just going to push this up. Okay. Okay. There we go. That way I don't have to erase it. Okay, so I'm going to come down here and draw a second box because we only have a couple letters left. Let's see. X, Y. We only have 2 letters left. So X, whoops. So we're going to put YZ in the top here. And then have C and D. And I'm going to take another screenshot of that. That should be, that one is there. Okay, that one's underneath. Make sure these are up and ready for us. So I'm taking a screenshot of this, so if you didn't feel like writing it down or you want to work off the screen, we will be able to reference those when we come to them. Okay. There we go. There's our third one. Okay, so now that we have our code figured out, we have a place to reference it and double check to make sure we're doing things right, we're going to switch back into, we're going to go back to our browser where Scratch is. Too many windows. Scratch is over here. And you'll probably see these little notes. You can definitely go ahead and read them. This is basically telling us we're going to finish the code with a shift of 4. Yes, 4, not 5. And we're just going to do some copying, pasting, and typing. So it's going to be really simple, a little tedious, but once we get through it, it'll be pretty fun to go through. I'm going to go ahead and close out of this comment because I'm going to need this white space. So we already have on our first screenshot. I'm going to drop it over here, make it a little smaller. We have, so the code already has A is E, B is F, C is D, D is H, E is I, and they skip to F. So what we're going to do is I'm just going to move this down just a little bit. And there's a blank one up here that says Win space key press code to blank white circles. I'm going to grab that and bring it down under E. And we're going to change it to be when the F key. So you're going to hit the drop down, and then within this yellow box, you're going to scroll down until you find F. You're going to hit F. And then inside the first white circle, we're going to type our F, and then the letter it's going to be encoded as. So on ours, it should encode as a J. And I would make sure, just because the code is in all lowercase letters, that you continue to use lowercase letters, because that does, well, here it would be fine, but in other languages like Java or C or Python, there is a difference between an uppercase J and a lowercase j. They have different values. Okay, so we have to do this a few more times, and the easiest way, you can see over here we have some more empty blocks. I'm going to grab those. They're over behind the O and the L. I'm going to grab those. So the easiest way to do that is just grab the blank ones we have. And what comes after? We need to do G. So I'm going to hit the drop down and go to the G. And then in my first code option, I'll type G, and then it should match K. And you'll see here that we've matched it so far because H turns into L. So I'm going to close out of our first key section that we did and bring up our second. That starts with I. Okay, and then I'm gonna move my workspace over to this second empty one. Bring it under the H. You don't have to organize it like this. I'm doing that because this is easier for me to keep track of where we're at. Okay, so we're gonna hit the drop down, choose I, type I in the first block, and then type M in the second block. Then after I comes J. So we don't have any more empty ones. I don't really want to do the same letter twice, so I'm going to leave those. So what you're going to do is you're going to take your cursor and hover over the win on our yellow block and use a right click to duplicate and drag it down here. If you can't duplicate because you're on a mobile device, you're going to go to the yellow events drawer over here on the left. You're going to grab a when the space key is pressed option and drag it into your workspace. And then you're going to go to the pink My Blocks drawer and grab the code block. So you can either duplicate or drag it out from the motion drawer. It's going to be easier for me to duplicate, so that's what you'll see me doing for the rest of the lesson. So we have I, and then we need to do J. Change that to J, change the first code to J there, and this J should turn into N. And then on this when space key pressed option, I'm going to change our space to a K, and then in our code, put K in the first block and O in the second. It's going to turn into an O. Now we're going to do M, and M turns into a Q. This is going to be our tedious part. For this one, I'm actually going to bring it back up to the top because I don't want to keep scrolling. So I'm going to bring it back up over here. I guess I did L, didn't I? JK. Oh, we forgot L, but that's okay because L was made for us. So I'm going to bring L, JKL. There we go. We forgot a letter. Well, you didn't. I forgot a letter. So this is, like I was saying, going to be kind of tedious, not super fun coding right now, and a little repetitive in what I'm saying. But the reason I'm saying it is if we have newbies who are watching or younger students, some of you may be picking up on this and you're already done. That's great. For those of you who want to listen to the video and have the instructions, that's fine. That's why I'm doing it. So this new block that I brought up to the top needs to be changed to an N. And you'll see while I was talking, I added the N into the first block and the R over here. O is already done for us, but it's set as a T, so that should really be an S. Right? Let's do a check. HIJKLNNOPQR. O should be an S right here. Okay. Yep. All right, so now I'm going to duplicate that block and put it underneath, and then we're going to choose the P, and P should be T. Okay. Oh, let's drag this up more. Otherwise, so the workspace will be as wide or as long as you need it to be. You'll be able to move around using your cursor or dragging the screen. I just don't want to go too far past what we already had because it's a lot of scrolling. So now I'm going to duplicate the P block, and that was the end of our second section of code. So we're going to open our third section, which starts with Q. So we're going to change our, oops, I'm going to do that. Yep, that'll work. I'm going to change our P to a lowercase q here. Type in a lowercase q in that first one, and then Q should turn into U. Okay. So duplicate. This time we're doing we're encoding R. R becomes B. So there are lots of ways to encode things and do encryption, lots of fun games that even newbies to code can do and figure out. You just can search them online if you want, with parents' permission, of course. And there's also lots of examples using Scratch and other things that you can see how they work. If there's time, I'll try and find some at the end of this. So we just did R, and R should become V, and S should become W. Okay, so now we're moving on to T. We're almost there, guys, and then we'll get to the fun part. So T becomes X. Now we're going to move on to U. And U becomes Y. Duplicate. Now W. W becomes A. X. X becomes B. Y. Y. Y should be C, right? That's what we said. Yes, Y should be C. And finally, Z should be D. Okay. All right, so now we're done making our code, and it should work for us now. So let's do a quick check on our PDF, which I accidentally closed. So let's find that. Here we go. So we introduced step 1, showed you how to see inside. We've done the blocks. We've copied all of our blocks. We made a makeshift cipher key for us to follow. We went through these letters and coded everything. Okay, fill in the empty spaces, we did that. All right, so now we're gonna go back to that project page on the main one. So click back into your browser, and at the top, next to, you'll see the secret code generator YCJ remix. You're gonna see the C project page button. We're gonna click that, and we're gonna work what we have from here. So click the green flag, I believe, type your message, and then click on me. So we're gonna type our message into this orange circle. And I'm going to type hello. I don't think you can type a very long word. We'll try hello first and then see. Once you type hello, click on the flying hippo. Okay, so you saw the hippo told us what our original word was, and then what the encoded word was, and it shows us up here. So we can try that again. And let's say I want to type the word rainbow. Okay, so I'm gonna hit, if I don't think I was clear. Once you type the word, hit your enter or return key on your keyboard. Oh no, and then click the hippo. Okay, so I think you can make pretty long words. I'm just gonna keep testing it. What's a very long word that we can try? Well, let's type the name of who we are, Youth Code Jam. It doesn't allow spaces. I did try to add spaces. Now I'm gonna click on the hippo. Very good. Okay, so you can type in pretty long words there, it looks like, and you guys can obviously keep playing with this. You just go back into your code. If you want to change your key, you can. So if you wanted to make it a key of, I don't know, 18, what would that look like? Let's look at here. So that would be an offset of 4, technically. So if you wanted to do an offset of 18, you would put it at Q, I think. Yeah. So Q would match to A. So you can play around with that still. There is, so a related game you guys might want to try once you're done with this is the PBS Cyber Lab. So I'm just going to type in PBS Cyber Lab into my search bar. Okay, oh, so it's actually Cybersecurity by Nova Labs on PBS. And these are, if you've been to any of our bibliotech lessons, we have worked on this before, but it's a free game that doesn't require an account. Oops, and it teaches you some cybersecurity stuff. So one of them is passwords. Another one is what a phishing email might look like. So if you hit play game, oh, it's gonna ask you what your local station is. Just say yes, it doesn't matter. So you're gonna hit play game and just do the guest pass. There's, unless your parents say it's okay to sign in with something, but the guest pass is fine. So you'll choose an avatar and choose a company, and what you're trying to do is protect your company from being hacked. So that's where the good passwords come in, and knowing what a dangerous email will look like, and knowing that kind of stuff. So that's good practice. And another kind of form of cybersecurity, the password stuff is really key to what we did today with the Caesar Cipher. So we will be sending out a link for our Q&A session for Tuesday, March, what is Tuesday? I've been stuck at home, I don't know what day it is anymore. March 24th. We will have a Q&A session at 4. I hope to see a lot of you there and see what you were able to work on and hear what might have been a problem, or what you think, or even what you might want to do. So we're basing a lot of these activities off of things we already have, but we will also probably start just creating new ones from scratch. So let us know. I hope to see you all at the Q&A session, and have a great day.